Hey everyone, today I want to share with you the 10 best home hacks that I wish someone would have shared with me before signing a lease on an older home. While it's easy to fall in love with some of the original features and fixtures, the day-to-day reality is not always chic when you can't renovate. Plenty of homes with just a little bit of age have tons of awkward outlets, patchy paint jobs, and cheap landlord fixes that really make decorating harder than it should be. So if your place has some potential and you really don't want to cover up the character with cheap renter-friendly fixes, then let's get into it and start with number 1. So many older rentals don't come with AC or even a ceiling fan, and oftentimes you're just stuck with recessed lighting or one basic overhead light, which means airflow in those rooms is basically non-existent unless you open a window, and let's hope you have a window. Countertop or floor fans do help, but they take up valuable space and outlets. And AC units, whether they're window or portable, are usually bulky and expensive and sometimes require landlord approval. So the best solution for this situation is to use a socket fan. Even if you have recessed lights, it's a 2-in-1 light and fan combo that you just screw into a standard light socket. It's remote controlled, lightweight, super easy to install, and very portable, so you can put it in literally any room. The one I got comes with an extender, so it lowers it from the ceiling a bit, and it also has multiple speed and light settings that are controlled from a remote, and you can use the fan without the light, or you can use the light without the fan, or both at the same time. The best part is it runs up to about 1,000 RPMs, which is the perfect amount of airflow to cool off a small stuffy kitchen, hallway, or even an upstairs bedroom. It's of course not a total replacement for an actual ceiling fan or a mini split, for example, and it's definitely not a design moment, but it works, and sometimes that's all that matters. I will link this exact fan in the description below and any of the other fun products that I mentioned in this video, purely for the reason that I truly think that they are life-changing, affordable, and amazing for renters. So I'm sure we all know that all of these older rentals have these really old electrical panels. Usually the breakers on these are completely unlabeled or completely mislabeled, or they just have labels that make absolutely no sense. So you flip one off because you think it's connected to your bathroom, but then instantly your Wi-Fi is out and your fridge is off and the plug that you were actually trying to fix is still on. And then you're yelling across the house multiple times to your partner or roommate, "Is it off? Is it off yet?" And they're like, "No, it's not. Try the next one." And it's so frustrating. So the most amazing solution for this out there is a circuit breaker finder. It helps you accurately identify which breaker is connected to which outlet without having to guess and turn off the entire home. All you need to do is plug in one piece to your outlet or even just a light socket, and then scan the breakers with the other device, and it tells you exactly where the power is coming from. The kit I got from Klein comes with the testing device, and then it comes with 3 different adapters. So one for your outlet, one for a light socket, and then bare wires, which is perfect if you're swapping out a hardwired light in your bathroom, for example, and you want to know which breaker it's connected to. It doesn't replace an electrician, obviously, but it's a lot cheaper than calling one, especially for small little electrical projects. So again, I'll link this one in the description below if you want to check it out. If you've moved into an older rental and all of the hardware throughout the home is covered in layers of landlord paint, definitely don't waste your money trying to replace everything, but don't just live with it either. I suggest you take some time to remove them and clean them because you might find something really beautiful underneath. And to just show you how easy it can be and what a transformation it can make, I'm gonna walk you through it step by step right now. So the first step is to just take all the hardware off. If you're worried that you might need to replace some screws because they're mainly stripped or covered in grime, all I need you to do is rescue one screw and take it to your local Home Depot. In the aisle with all of the screws, they're gonna have a little box and it'll tell you what size screw you have based on which hole it fits into. Then you just look directly up and grab the corresponding number. And then while you're there, I have a little shopping list for you. So you wanna pick up a bottle of mineral spirits, also some kind of bucket if you don't have one at home, some quadruple zero steel wool, some gloves, some simple green, and a mask. Now put all the hardware into the bucket with a whole bottle of these mineral spirits. It really does not smell that great, so definitely wear a mask and do it outside if you can. And once all the hardware is submerged underneath all of the liquid, then just let it set for a couple days. And then when you revisit it, the paint will just have fallen off. And for any stubborn pieces, you can use that quadruple zero steel wool and some simple green and just scrape it off. I did this in 2 separate bathrooms in 2 very old homes last year, and everything felt really new and fresh while maintaining all of that original character. This process does require a little bit of elbow grease and time, but the pros are that it does keep all the original character. It's a fun little home DIY project. It's so much cheaper than buying all brand new hardware, and you don't have to get approval from the landlord to do it. So a lot of these these older homes, although clean and functional, do have somewhat of an imprint from all of the previous tenants who've been there before. So you might have some scratched wood floors or cabinets or doors, and I'm sure you've probably heard about products like Old English or Restore a Finish or even Howard Speed and Wax. But oftentimes we don't need to go to the extent of pulling out the gloves and dealing with a heavy finish with a lingering odor, which is why I love using the Tibet almond stick. It's this weird little rolled up cotton stick soaked in a mineral oil solution that I guess is a family secret, and it's basically like a makeup concealer but for wood. You just rub it on a little scratched area and wait for it to set and then wipe off the excess, and it's completely disappeared. There's no gloves, no strong smell, and you don't need to spend the time buffing out a huge piece of furniture or a big door just to fix one scratch. It's seriously such a super fast fix, and I've used it on everything from my front door to 100-year-old window trim to simple decor pieces and even wood dresser legs. It's super satisfying and super magical. I don't know how it works, but it's awesome. It's about like $8 on Amazon or your local hardware store, and one can will literally last you a lifetime. I've had mine for absolutely years and used it so much, and it's still going strong. If your space is just feeling a little bit off, it might be that some things are a little scratched or scuffed or worn down, so taking a few minutes to just erase those with one of these Tibet almond sticks can really give your whole room a fresh new look. So if you have a light switch that's in the worst possible spot for you, like maybe it's across the room or behind a couch, or maybe it's right where you want to put your bed, there's a super easy fix out there that can make your space so much more functional. I use these Wi-Fi smart plugs that connect to an app on my phone. You just plug your lamp or light into the smart plug and then plug the smart plug into the outlet in the wall, connect it to your Wi-Fi, and then you can control the lamp through the app on your phone. You can set timers so that your lamps turn on and off automatically or at a certain part of the day. I've got one connected on my lamp at the front door just so that it's never dark when I walk inside. And I also have one connected to a lamp in my bedroom so that I never have to get out of bed to turn the light off. But if you want the actual look and feel of a light switch on the wall without having to do any of the electrical work, there are wireless switch kits like this one that come with a stick-on switch and a paired outlet. So you get that classic switch setup without wiring anything. It uses RF, not Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, so it's super instant and simple to set up. If you're in an older home, whether it's from the 20s or the 80s, there's a good chance something's missing, broken, or replaced with the cheapest possible solution of what used to be there. It could be cabinet knobs, towel bars, switch plates, or even air vents, and it technically works, so a landlord or a flipper is not really going to fix it or replace it. But from a design perspective, it's those little details that make a space feel unfinished and just a little worn out. So as many people have mentioned before in the past, changing out those hardware pieces with intentional choices can really make a space feel designed. However, I don't like to choose just any mass-produced hardware from a big box store. I think checking out local salvage shops can be the best place to find pieces that really fit a design style that you're going for or match the vibe of your home. If you don't know what salvage shops are, they're basically secondhand stores for building materials. So you're gonna find things like doors, vents, locks, plumbing, and they're all usually sourced locally from homes or buildings that were either torn down or remodeled. So if you want to bring back some original character to your home, and or maybe you're trying to match a doorknob or a cabinet pull, there's a really good chance that you're going to find something that you need at a local salvage shop. Additionally, they also carry reproductions that feel accurate for the era of that home or design style that you're going for. And they're so much more affordable. When I moved into this house, my bathroom vanity, which had probably been installed around the 70s, didn't have any knobs on it, but the rest of the house had these really pretty 1920s glass ones. And I really wanted to highlight the style of the home in that bathroom with all of the pink tile. So I actually ended up finding exact versions at a local salvage shop. But salvage shops are not just for restoring hardware in a 100-year-old home. If you live in a home built in the 80s, but your style is super 50s, then they're definitely gonna have hardware that is from that era. I also think from local salvage shops, you can get larger sets of items for a little bit of a better price than you could maybe at a flea market or on Etsy. And they just bring a whole new level of character that mass-produced hardware could never give. If you're renting, you can absolutely replace some of the most mundane pieces of hardware in your home and just keep the ones that came with the home in a Ziploc bag in your cabinet somewhere, and when you move out, just put them back. So So as we all know, outlets, especially in older homes, are rarely where you need them. And so often they're exactly right where you want to put your bed or your dresser or your bookcase. And if you end up using those plugs and pushing your furniture up against it, it just bends the cord, and then there's this awkward gap between the furniture and the wall. So one of my favorite fixes for this is a flat extension cord. It's like a flat plate with a plug on it that you just push into the outlet, and it sits flush against the wall. So you can press furniture right up against it, and then the cord can run along the baseboard, for example, and you can access the plugs elsewhere. I had to add one of these into my breakfast nook so that my coffee bar setup could be pressed up against the wall, and it's rated for I think up to like 1625 watts or something, so it's perfectly safe for small kitchen appliances like a lamp, a toaster, and espresso machine. But if you're okay with showing a little bit of tech, I found some really cool looking extension cords that have, 3 to 6 different plugs on them. I found one recently at IKEA, but there's tons out there that are really interesting and a little bit more vintagey looking. They're definitely pricier than just buying an extension cord at the local hardware store. However, they are providing a little bit more of a design aesthetic. And let's say you're in like a music room and you're recording music, or you're in an office or a gym. Things like plugs are expected to be seen in there. So if you're using something that looks aesthetically pleasing, I think it won't detract from the overall vibe of the space. Okay, so this one is super specific, but it's also the most frustrating, and I actually never experienced this until moving into this home. So I was trying to plug in one of these vintage lamps I picked up while secondhand shopping, and it just would not go in, and I was like, what is going on? There's 2 prongs here, there's 2 holes in the outlet. Why is it not fitting? Well, it turns out some older 2-prong plugs, especially ones that were installed prior to 1960, are actually the same size on both sides. So that means they're non-polarized. It wasn't until about 1962 when they instituted polarized plugs, meaning one side is a little bit bigger than the other. So if you were to go unplug your TV right now and look at that modern plug, one side of it would actually be bigger than the other. And that helps, I guess, reduce shock, and it's just a little bit safer, and that's why it's become the standard. Luckily, not all of the plugs in my house are like that, but for the ones that are, I found this non-polarized adapter. It's about $3 to $5 for a pack of them. The adapter has 2 prongs that are the same size that pop into your outlet, and then on the other side, it has the standard polarized holes. I mainly just use them for lamps, fans, phone chargers, stuff that doesn't require a lot of energy output. But if your outlet is polarized, so it fits your modern plugs, however, it doesn't have that third grounding hole, you can use a 3-prong to 2-prong plug adapter. These have a little grounding tab that are supposed to connect to the screw on the outlet plate. Some older homes have a grounded electrical metal box behind the outlet, but the outlet itself was never upgraded to a 3-prong, so in that case, these are really helpful for plugging in those bigger devices. I'm definitely not saying that this replaces a full wiring job, and if you're unsure at all if this is safe for your home, then definitely check with your landlord or call an electrician. Don't come for me. This is one of the fixes that really made my home so much more livable. Too often, these older rental homes are retrofitted with items that are either too small or delivering really terrible water pressure or weirdly angled. So the few upgrades that you do make should be really impactful to counteract those terrible landlord vibes. That's why instead of purchasing a really shiny nickel or matte black shower head for your bathroom, instead you could purchase something like this from Sproos. I replaced the basic shower head that came in my guest bathroom with this one, and it immediately made the bathroom feel so cool and super brand new. And I'm bringing this up because this shower head was specifically designed with renters in mind. It installs in minutes and uses a very gentle but effective adhesive, so there's no drilling involved, and it's fully removable within a few minutes, so it's perfect for someone who just wants to temporarily change out a space and really make a bold statement. Spruce sent this one to me so that I could try it out, and I loved it so much that I really wanted to share it with you guys. It's modern and fun without being super over designed, so it's still very minimal and functional, and it comes in a ton of different color options. It's actually made from really high quality materials and feels really elevated and custom, and then functionally, it's just so much better for so many reasons. The handheld design has an extra long hose with 3 different spray options, and you can even get an optional water filter to filter out heavy metals and chlorine, which is great for those of us who cannot install a water softener. You can also get some cute little coordinating pieces to add more customization, like these shower shelves or this little magnetic phone holder, or even like an anti-fog mirror. I'll link the exact one that I have in the description below, as well as a discount code that they gave me. There are so many shower head options out there that are pretty basic and straightforward, and although they might improve what you already have, I think choosing something a little bit more intentional and designed like this can really just transform the look of your bathroom and make it feel a little bit more renovated than just made over. And And speaking of bathrooms, if your bathroom has that really dingy beige or stained white tub with the white tile that never looks clean no matter how much you scrub or how much product you use, tile and tub paint might be your best option. It's probably the most involved hack on this list, but once it cures, it's totally safe, and for the price, it has the biggest impact. I did this in my first LA apartment years ago, and I don't have any footage or pictures of it, but it absolutely made a huge difference. It's this special kind of paint that's specifically designed for high moisture surfaces like bathtubs or sinks, and it smells pretty terrible while you're doing it, and you'll have to absolutely avoid using the shower part of your bathroom for at least 72 hours so it cures, but the payoff is so huge, honestly. It just makes everything look so much cleaner and literally brand new, and it really just made getting ready in the morning and taking a bath or a shower feel so much less depressing. You can find little tub and tile paint kits at hardware stores or online. Rust-Oleum and Homax, I think, make the most popular versions of this, and I use the spray version. You just have to make sure to prep your surfaces really well and then tape off anything that you don't want paint on. Obviously, this isn't a fix for every bathroom. It only really works on standard porcelain or enamel coated tubs, and you definitely want some kind of landlord approval. But if you're renting or you're just tired of your dingy looking bathroom and want some kind of refresh, this is one of those like medium term upgrades that can make a really big impact and make this bathroom feel renovated. And because you stuck around for all 10 tips, here's a bonus tip. So many older homes have floors that are uneven, which makes it really hard to place a piece of furniture evenly. So for this, I use these hard plastic ones from Amazon that come in different sizes, and they stack really easily for larger gaps. And they're way more durable than using like a folded piece of cardboard. I think the plastic ones are better than wood because wood can either mold or compress or splinter, and the plastic ones are just more durable. They also have a really grippy texture on both sides, and there's even clear options if you don't want to see like a black shim underneath your piece of furniture. It's a tiny, unglamorous fix, but it actually makes styling so much easier in certain situations. And if you want some more unique renter-friendly tips, then check out part 1 and 2, where I share even more home hacks that don't involve peel and stick wallpaper. Other than that, I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.